At 8:13 p.m., the man stood up from his seat. He adjusted his tie, calmly walked toward the back of the plane, and stepped into the dark. No scream, no hesitation, no goodbye, just cold air, black forest, and silence. That man was D.B. Cooper. And in the 50 years since that night, not a single person has been able to prove whether he lived or died. But here's what almost everyone gets wrong. This story was never about survival. It was never about the money. And it was never about escaping. Because if you look closely at the aircraft, the timing, the parachutes, and the FBI's own assumptions, a far more disturbing possibility emerges. What if D.B. Cooper didn't care whether he survived the jump? What if the disappearance itself was the plan? Tonight, we're not asking who D.B. Cooper was. We're asking something far more uncomfortable. Was this the most perfectly designed vanishing act in American history? On November 24, 1971, a man using the name Dan Cooper purchased a one-way ticket from Portland to Seattle. No ID, cash payment, seat 18C. To the airline, he was invisible. Witnesses described him as unremarkable. Mid-40s, polite, quiet. He ordered a bourbon and soda, paid for it, tipped the stewardess. Nothing about him screamed hijacker. And that was the first clue. When Cooper passed a note to flight attendant Florence Schaffner, she assumed it was a phone number. She slipped it into her pocket. He leaned closer. "Miss, you better read that. I have a bomb." No panic, no raised voice. Just certainty. Inside the briefcase, wires, red cylinders, and a threat that didn't need proof. Cooper didn't rant. He didn't negotiate. He dictated. $200,000 in cash, 4 parachutes, a fuel truck waiting in Seattle, and most importantly, a Boeing 727. That detail matters more than the money, because the 727 had one feature no other commercial aircraft had, a rear air stair that could be lowered mid-flight. Cooper didn't ask if it could be done. He told them to do it, which means he already knew. This wasn't improvisation, this was rehearsal. The FBI believed the parachutes proved one thing: Cooper planned to survive. But that assumption shaped the entire investigation and possibly destroyed it. Cooper demanded 4 parachutes, not 1. Why? The FBI assumed it was to prevent sabotage. They feared he'd take a hostage with him. But there's another explanation, one that almost no documentaries explore. By demanding multiple parachutes, Cooper forced the authorities to give him real ones. They couldn't risk giving him a defective chute if civilians might be involved, so Cooper guaranteed authenticity, not survival. Even stranger, he rejected the most advanced parachute offered. He chose an older, less maneuverable model. Any experienced skydiver would have known that was a bad choice. Unless maneuverability didn't matter, unless landing safely wasn't the priority. The jump happened somewhere over southwest Washington. Night, heavy rain. Freezing temperatures, wind speeds exceeding 100 miles per hour. Terrain below, dense forest, rivers, ravines. No visual markers, no radio, no protective gear. Every professional analysis agrees on one thing. This jump was nearly suicidal. But Cooper didn't hesitate. At 8:13 p.m., a pressure bump was felt in the cabin. The air stair was gone. So was Cooper. No parachute found. No body recovered. No confirmed remains. Which raises a terrifying question. If the jump was so impossible, why was Cooper so calm? The FBI tracked every bill. Serial numbers logged, banks alerted. Cash monitored nationwide, and then nothing. Not a single confirmed bill surfaced in circulation. No bars, no stores, no casinos, for nearly a decade. Then in 1980, a boy named Brian Ingram found decaying Cooper ransom money buried along the Columbia River. Not scattered, not spent, buried. Which makes no sense, unless the money was never meant to be used. If Cooper wanted wealth, spending even a small amount would have been easy. But the money behaved like discarded evidence, not stolen cash, almost as if it served one purpose: to prove the crime happened and nothing more. The FBI's investigation rested on a single belief: that Cooper tried to survive. So they searched landing zones, escape routes, suspects with parachuting backgrounds. But what if that assumption was wrong? What if Cooper's goal wasn't to escape the wilderness, but to erase his identity forever? No fingerprints matched, no DNA confirmed, no real name known. The alias Dan Cooper wasn't American at all. It referenced a European comic book character. Another layer of misdirection. Every great illusion has one rule: control the audience's attention. Cooper controlled the FBI by making them chase survival. While the real achievement was simpler, he created a moment where death and escape were indistinguishable. No proof of life, no proof of death. Only uncertainty, and uncertainty is unbeatable. After decades of theories, suspects, and speculation, one truth remains. D.B. Cooper succeeded the moment he stepped off that plane. Not because he lived, not because he died, but because he vanished so completely that the question itself became unsolvable. And maybe that was the point all along. Somewhere between the clouds and the forest, between life and death, between fact and myth, D.B. Cooper stopped being a man and became a mystery. And mysteries never have to answer questions.